Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to talk about the subject of space exploration for the future. What does that mean? No, it's not about being able to go where boldly no man has ever gone before. This is not Star Trek, and we're also not in a galaxy far, far away, such as Star Wars. But what I'm trying to say is basically, if you really think about it, we are taking over the world. When I was born, we were at over 4 billion people. Now we're at over 7.5 billion people in little over 30 years. So, what does that mean? That means that the population of Earth is doubling at a very, very fast rate. And we are getting to a point where we might actually have too many people on this Earth and not enough resources in some way to hold everyone on this planet. And we can see it with people complaining about climate change, people complaining about pollution, people complaining about not having enough jobs, not enough money, a lot of things. So basically we're going into some sort of dystopian society in some way. Hopefully it's not going to get there, but when you really think about it, and you know that a lot of countries have atomic bombs and other things, you know that within the press of one button, the city can be destroyed. Multiple lives can die. So either history repeats itself like it's happened over millions and millions of years, where basically the species goes extinct and something else is created, or only the strong survive, and then we kind of go back from there. But now at this point we're thinking in a way where basically we have a life on this earth and we're able to sustain ourselves, and we want to, in the most ideal way, maybe think that we won't actually go extinct, but because of the fact that we have our brain power and the consciousness that is given to us through mutations, biological mutations, and genetic luck in some way, we will actually be able to overcome the fact that most species have gone extinct or did become extinct, and we'll have that survival instinct in order to basically multiply ourselves, not on this earth, but to continue living on other planets and to actually go where no man has ever gone before, boldly. I think it's actually something that's very doable, and because it's not been one of our priorities in this day and age, we haven't explored as much of the universe as we should have, because obviously it's expensive, it's difficult, but at the same time it's probably going to become a necessity to have colonies on the moon, to colonize and maybe make Mars habitable again, and also see how we will evolve on different kind of gravities, because we're obviously made for the gravity on Earth. But if you go on another planet, how will it affect our organs? How will it affect us? I'm pretty sure it will in many ways, and probably not in good ways. But at the same time, we're kind of obliged, if the population keeps on doubling and the resources become scarce on this earth because everything has been used. Either now we're in a place where still technologically we're able to find new resources, find new things that can be done, but eventually we will probably not. So what do I propose? I propose that we do explore other planets. I know that Elon Musk and I know now China and hopefully also NASA are willing to go back on the moon, go back on, go on Mars with actual humans, see what it would actually take in order to colonize these places. Because once again, if we run out of resources here, or we get into a war and we destroy most of what's here, well, maybe we're going to need to find a better place somewhere else. And that's even how they discovered new continents, how people have immigrated from one place to the other, is that they would basically cross the sea, or they would basically go into dangerous places in order to better themselves, in order to find a better life. But at this point, we're kind of stuck here. I'm not an explorer, but I do know that there are scientists out there that probably think that they need to explore stuff. I mean, there's also something to be said, is that, for example, over 90% of our oceans have not really been explored on the bottom, but that's also because the pressure becomes too high, and then it's very dangerous, and I mean, you can't really survive on the bottom of the ocean. And that's also remains to be said, that basically a lot of our world is unexplored, and if it's unexplored, that means that basically we have a lot of exploration to be done here. But there's either one or two things that can really happen. It's either we find a better balance in order to basically find better ways to sustain ourselves as a human species and all the animals living on this planet. We start procreating less in some way, where at the place of having the population expand in numbers every year, it actually starts declining for a while, and then once we get back to acceptable levels and we let all the older people die, basically, and then the new generations that are there that are in declining numbers, then once they get to another comfortable level again, then they can start procreating and recreating numbers. And it seems very controlling and stuff like that, but at the same time, like, what else are you going to do? And if people just don't have babies as much, then if you can make it a better place for this earth, then why not? And there's also something to be said, is that there's a lot of orphans and stuff like that. So if somebody were only allowed to, like in China, to have only one biological child, but then the other ones that they have to be adopted or whatever, and people were more conscious about that stuff, then the numbers of our population would actually start declining and not getting higher and higher, but then everybody's life would actually be a little bit better, I think, because we are definitely in a place on Earth where there's just too many people. And then at the same time, it goes again with our resources, because some places that are more westernized, we'll say, have the technology not to pollute so much, even though we do pollute so much, because unfortunately the people who have the power are the people who own the enterprises that will basically allow you to have the technologies like adapted for their method of building stuff, and they don't want to until the resources are taken away, because it would take the money to create those new technologies. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically we do live in a society that's very sick, and we don't look out for the world, and we take it for granted. So Earth, eventually Mother Nature will overtake, and it'll beat us to a pulp, because we think we're immortal, but in the blink of an eye, something catastrophic can happen and everything changes for us forever. So hopefully we can forward think and not let ourselves get taken over and die as a species. But that's all I have to say. Have a great day and enjoy.